If you spent enough time on the internet, you may have come across old school art with Japanese text and a soft pink coloration, or songs that sound like they came out of an 80s commercial, despite being made in the mid 2010s. This art style is known as Vaporwave, a microgenre of art and music that seeks to emulate the old warm feel of retro electric aesthetics, mostly sampling from old commercials and advertisements. And today, we are going to explore the many secrets of Vaporwave and its extensive history on the Vaporwave Iceberg. And hopefully, this can put you onto some bangers that you didn't know about until now. I know it put me onto some bangers, and the creator of this iceberg was gracious enough to provide a Google Doc explaining the many entries. Was definitely extremely helpful in the creation of this video. So, without a further ado, let's get into the iceberg. And to start off the iceberg, we have the OG Vektroid. And Vektroid is often credited as the mother of Vaporwave due to her contributions to the genre's rise in popularity. She uploaded multiple Vaporwave albums under different aliases, with her most popular alias by far being Macintosh Plus, under which the most recognizable Vaporwave album ever, Floral Shoppe, would be released. Vektroid has since moved away from the Vaporwave genre, but still releases music on her Bandcamp and other music platforms. More on the Floral Shoppe album, it is by far the most recognizable Vaporwave album, if not piece of Vaporwave art of all time. The Floral Shoppe album was Vektroid's 9th studio album, released under the Macintosh Plus alias on December 9th, 2011. And for many people, this album was the beginning of their Vaporwave journeys, with its most popular song being Lisa Frank 420, Modern Computer. This song is probably the first thing you think of when you think of Vaporwave, and is by far the most popular and influential Vaporwave songs of all time, with re-uploads of the song getting millions of views per pop. For a while, it was a bit of a mystery where the vocals used in the song came from, but people found out that the vocals came from Diana Ross's song It's Your Move. This song would also be used in many memes, with people seeing it as the meme song, and would kind of put Vaporwave into this perception of being just meme music, with this factor being something that severed Vektroid's love for the genre and the album itself. Although the widespread success of the album could be seen as an amazing thing for Vektroid, she was seemingly envious of its success, with her removing it from her accounts on occasion and outwardly expressing a desire to establish a legacy outside of Floral Shoppe, with other projects being released under the Macintosh Plus alias that sound nothing really like Floral Shoppe. Blank Banshee is a solo Vaporwave artist who continued his music career following the electronic post-punk band Shinjuku Mad breaking up. Blank Banshee started as a project, started by the two remaining members, Patrick Driscoll and Curtis Ferguson, with Patrick taking on the project on his own after Curtis would leave shortly after its founding. Blank Banshee makes Vaporwave and trap music, while being considered a pioneer in the Vaporwave genre, with Blank Banshee Zero being one of the first albums to use the trademark Vaporwave style, released in September 1st, 2012. Blank Banshee has gone on to drop multiple albums and has gone on tour around the world on 2 occasions. Saint Pepsi is one of the OG Vaporwave artists and one of my favorite Vaporwave artists. On February 2nd, 2013, he would drop the Late Night Delight album in collaboration with Luxury Elite, home to my personal favorite Vaporwave song, Enjoy Yourself. Saint Pepsi would incorporate his Vaporwave style into the future funk style of songs that he would be known for pioneering, releasing albums such as Choice Cuts and Hit Vibes, with Hit Vibes being considered his magnum opus. And all was fine in Pepsi land, or maybe not, because in 2015, Pepsi Company would force Saint Pepsi to change his name. Epic company movement. I love big corporations. With him changing his name to Skylar Spence. Although, in 2019, Skylar would don the Saint Pepsi title for one last time for the release of his album, Mannequin Challenge, and will apparently go by Saint Pepsi during shows and live events. Long live Bepsis. Vapormeme is a name for the meme culture surrounded around Vaporwave. Lisa Frank 420 was used in thousands of memes and vines back in the day. Shoutouts to those from the Vine era. YouTubers would use Vaporwave as a primary aesthetic in their videos, most notably commentary channels from the 2016 era, such as Leafy Here, Pyrocynical, and H3H3, furthering the spread of Vapormeme and Vaporwave as a whole. Vapormeme's satirical nature wouldn't be universally welcomed, however, as many Vaporwave artists saw it as an insult to the medium, along with many meme albums flooding Bandcamp in this era, hiding hidden bangers behind stuff like Trek 420, Simpsonwave, Epic Weed. The aesthetics of Vaporwave are a huge factor that plays into the art form. Its soft blue and pink colors, Japanese text, Windows 95 look, and Greek statue plays into its retro aesthetic, giving it a warm yet chill kind of vibe. This aesthetic gives you the feeling that whatever you are looking at or listening to is from another time, like a hidden gem that escaped our parents' generation's gaze. It kind of gives that feeling like the sun's coming down on a warm summer day and you're sipping in Arizona with a buddy on the pier. Just a little snapshot moment in time. The usage of full-width text is commonly affiliated with the Vaporwave aesthetics, giving it a techno type of vibe. Full-width text is frequently used in Vapormeme as well, with it being used in the comments or replies of anything Vaporwave adjacent. In 2013, Tumblr became a hub for Vaporwave music, art, and culture as a whole. Tumblr was and still is a huge home to many Vaporwave artists, with Vaporwave being one of the most prominent aesthetics on the site even to this day, which for Tumblr isn't that big of a deal in this current time, but it is good to see that a community like that is still holding on in 2024, over 10 years later. Arizona and Fiji beverage brands are synonymous with the Vaporwave aesthetic due to their packaging and other factors that lead them to being heavily used in Vaporwave art. This is mostly seen in Arizona teas and juices, with the artwork on their cans and bottles having many similarities to the Vaporwave aesthetic, mostly with the use of checkered patterns and simplistic artwork on the labels. The low price and high abundance of Arizona products also calls back to a time when other beverages were a similar price with heavy marketing, and Fiji is used for the opposite reasons, with Fiji being more expensive than other waters and it has a bit less of an eye-catching, simpler aesthetic. This tends to have it be used in more satirical senses or seen as a huge luxury, and these edits do go pretty hard for just a water. Hauntology and Nostalgia are two heavy elements that play into Vaporwave and its aesthetic. The nostalgic feel is one that is often felt when listening to Vaporwave music or viewing Vaporwave art. I mean, the whole point of the art form is to make it look old yet cozy and welcoming. Old commercials and clips from movies, music videos, and news clips are often used to give the viewer a glimpse into the past where everything was more simple. Hauntology is a philosophy coined by French philosopher Jacques Derrida in 1993 that presents an idea that our current era of history is haunted by the ghosts of a future that we never achieved. Basically, we live in the boring timeline, and Vaporwave pieces give us a glimpse into a world we have failed to achieve. Both of these factors play into the sense of escapism that Vaporwave can give to those who see the current day as bland and soulless, and really this could be a whole video all on its own. And starting off layer 2 of the iceberg, we have Slash Music Plays. And if you scroll down the comment section of Lisa Frank 420, you'll notice that most of the comments are something thought-provoking, ending with Slash Music Plays. This meme is an inside joke in many re-uploads of the popular song, with thousands of them being made throughout the years. And admittedly, some of them are pretty funny, like "You lost the game, Slash Music Plays." Chillwave is pretty much the older brother of Vaporwave, as a microgenre of electronic music that takes lo-fi elements with synths and reverb. Chillwave and Vaporwave often get mixed up due to their similar retro-electric vibe, with many Vaporwave artists making Chillwave music as well, and same vice versa. Vaporwave even emerged as sort of an exaggerated form of Chillwave, poking at its overuse of reverb and sampling from older songs. Cloud rap is a style of rap that emerged from the Atlanta, Memphis, and Houston rap scene that was influenced by Vaporwave in terms of sound and visual aesthetics, giving a super chill and relaxed type of feel. Cloud rap's chill, dreamlike vibe makes it a popular choice for several artists who like to use a lo-fi stoner type aesthetic. Many artists who have contributed to this genre include Clams Casino, 90s Bambino, Space Ghost Perp, ASAP Rocky, Young Lean, Chief Keef, Chris Travis, and Bloody Drinking. Cloud rap has since evolved into a new subgenre known as Vapor Trap, and artists such as Playboy Carti have grown heavy influence from trap and cloud rap music. Telepath is a Vaporwave producer known for their longer, reverb-heavy style. Telepath's pieces stand out in the genre, where most tracks are 3 to 4 minutes long, with tracks that can vary from 6 minutes all the way to over an hour long. Telepath co-founded the Vaporwave label Dream Catalog and founded Vaporwave label Virtual Dream Plaza. Telepath's style garnered success through its chill yet mysterious aesthetic, which reflects perfectly on its creator, who drops music to their Bandcamp out of nowhere and chooses to remain anonymous. Telepath even made public appearances at a live show wearing a silver alien suit with a ghost-like hood, playing into its mysterious vibe. Plunderphonics is a microgenre of music from the 80s that creates music entirely from sampling other songs. Plunderphonics has influenced multiple music genres, including Vaporwave, despite Plunderphonics having a more fast-paced, upbeat type of vibe. Future funk is a subgenre of Vaporwave that uses disco and J-pop samples to give a 90s anime type of vibe, along with using old anime for visuals. The genre would be pioneered by Dinosaurus Rex, who would sign artists to their indie record label Keats Collective. Rex would compile these artists' songs into compilations, with many of the songs found on these compilations being some of the first future funk songs. Future funk would become widespread when the GOAT, St. Pepsi, would drop hit vibes, putting future funk into a more mainstream status, at least for the mid-2010s, that is. Simpsonwave is a subgenre of Vaporwave that uses footage from old Simpsons episodes with VHS filters and purple hues as background footage. A Vine from October 27, 2015 would indirectly start the genre, as it had Bart and his friends going on a joyride with Residence by Home playing in the background. This clip would be remastered, with the variant being the beginning of the Simpsonwave subgenre, with pieces like Homerscape 1992. Many look back on Simpsonwave as a meme, and probably just remember it alongside the XXXTentacion Sad Boy Bart edits. A common trend in Vaporwave art is consumer culture and product placement. Given that most Vaporwave pieces try to invoke an 80s and 90s nostalgia, a heavy use of commercial-style product placement, such as the use of Arizona and Fiji, as elaborated in the prior entry, is common, just like it was back in the era. Shopping malls and company mascots like Mac Tonight, not the edgy evil one you might have found on 4chan, are relics of a bygone era. The era of which Vaporwave wishes to show the viewer through pinkish rose-tinted glasses. Just like all the other art forms, Vaporwave is subjective, with the artist and their viewer both having potential of holding drastically different interpretations, so it's best not to chalk the entire genre up to a satire of capitalism, but it is a common trend and you should buy lots of products like the channel. Subscribe to the channel is free though, so hey man, I'm saying the bell and the bell notification too, like if you subscribe, that's a pretty good deal. Synthwave is a subgenre of electronic music that can pretty much be seen as the father of Vaporwave. Synthwave is a genre of music that takes heavy influence from the synth-heavy electronic music used in 80s type games, commercials, music, and movies. The genre will be popularized in soundtracks through many 80s inspired artworks, such as the film Drive and the game Hotline Miami.
Camden Gerard Davis, Leviathans are coming.
Now, before continuing, this isn't a sponsorship, but if you do want to get dripped out in Y2K and Vaporwave inspired clothing, Vapor95 is an online store loaded with many designs that you might like. Vapor95 has even done collabs with Vaporwave artists like Macintosh Plus and George Clanton, so you might want to check them out because some of these designs are pretty fire. 100% Electronica is the name of George Clanton's debut album and Vaporwave record label. The debut album released on September 25, 2015, and was a pleasant mix of Vaporwave and Chillwave. His label, on the other hand, is way more of note, as it is known to be one of the largest Vaporwave labels, signing artists and giving them opportunities to debut in live shows all around the world. Mixes, compilations, and 24/7 streams are a staple of the Vaporwave genre. Channels like SoundStation and Spliff Radio would upload Vaporwave compilations and have continued to for ages now. And a fun fact about the 24/7 streams that you find on YouTube, you can trace their origins back to the Vaporwave genre, as the earliest 24/7 streams were Vaporwave streams, kind of playing them like a radio station. Eccojams Volume 1 is an album released under the Chuck Person alias and is considered the first Vaporwave album. The album was released on August 8, 2010, with a release of 100 cassette tapes, but now is looked at as one of the most influential and largest albums in the genre. Pat Chennington is one of the most popular Vaporwave-centered creators on YouTube. With 162,000 subscribers as of writing this script, Pad both covers and makes music, primarily future funk and Vaporwave music. Pad releases reviews and video essays on Vaporwave, and I definitely recommend checking him out if you haven't already. Sunsetcorp was a channel run by Daniel Lopatin that included slowed and reverbed samples of old commercials and songs, most notably remix versions of songs like Only You and Lady in Red. Daniel would stop uploading to Sunsetcorp suddenly in July of 2010, but that wouldn't be the end for Daniel. You see, he would continue to mix these uploads and tinkering with them to get a more distinct sound. Daniel would then take these songs and upload them under the alias of Chuck Person and debut them in a little album called Eccojams Volume 1, with many of these new songs. Sunsetcorp would even see a brief return, as in October 24th, 2023, he would upload a new video to the dormant channel after 13 years of inactivity. Many artists in the Vaporwave genre, especially the older ones, remain unknown decades after releasing their music. Some artists choose to just keep their names out of their work to stay out of the public eye, but many don't even have their names to connect to their work. Vaporwave in its very nightmare can be a copyright nightmare, using many samples from a plethora of copyrighted works, and this has led to entire discographies vanishing overnight from Bandcamp, SoundCloud, and YouTube alike. Many artists are merely in it just for the fun of putting something out there, but the anonymity gives a kind of mystery element to it, like who really made this song? Mallsoft is a subgenre of Vaporwave that focuses on public places, most commonly, you guessed it, shopping malls. This genre makes use of elevator music and mall music that would give a type of feel of scrolling through a mall all by yourself. This is an interesting take on Liminal Spaces, where instead of looking through the pictures of abandoned ruins of a mall that is already closed, Mallsoft gives you more the feeling of being a kid visiting a mall for the first time, but you got it all to yourself. Hong Kong Express is one of the largest vaporwave producers, along with being a pioneer of the dream punk subgenre and founder of Dream Catalog. And although his resume is impressive, he is quite the controversial figure and is strongly disliked in the industry. Now, as far as I know, there's no Vox stuff, if you catch my drift, no horse images in his hard drive, but he is extremely hard to work with. HKE constantly engages in rants and arguments on Twitter and starts unnecessary beefs with other artists, but much more importantly, he mismanages his label extremely. HKE has threatened to delete his entire label seemingly out of nowhere and changing his mind last second, deleted entire albums without even telling artists, and would raise Bandcamp prices by ridiculous amounts. And HKE is a pretty big example of mismanagement of a platform and letting power get over to your head. But he is also a huge influence on the genre, and no doubt has some good bangers, so he's also kind of an example of separating the art from the artist. Frank Jobsy is a YouTuber known for his more satirical videos on Vaporwave and its many subgenres. His channel is pretty big with over 275k subscribers, despite lying dormant for over 6 years. Despite this, you might catch him performing in Vaporwave and Future Funk events in the SoCal area. Barber Beats are a subgenre of Vaporwave that have blown up in recent years despite being quite controversial. Barber Beats can trace their origins and name back to the artist Haircuts for Men. Barber Beats can be distinguished by their hyper-stylized cover arts and their calm and slow jazz-like sound, like something you'd hear at a 90s barbershop. These songs are extremely popular, and I agree, they are bangers. However, the controversial aspect of them is pretty hard to ignore. You see, a large amount of Barber Beats are ultimately other people's music but slowed down and reverbed and sold off as another person's product with little to no alteration to it. Despite this, many Barber Beats artists acknowledge the fact that what they put out isn't their own, with many of the artists saying something along the lines of, "This is all plundered." It is also near impossible to make substantial money off of this genre with how advanced copyright detection is, and entire discographies have been wiped from Bandcamp in seconds. And I do enjoy listening to Barber Beats, and their album covers are extremely eye-catching, but profiting off of another artist is pretty scummy if it's just a straight-up copy-paste. Sampling has always been a point of contention, depending on how little the sample is edited, especially in a sample-based genre such as Vaporwave. And this is a very interesting point to where we begin to see where the line in the sand is drawn. Sea-punk is a subgenre of Vaporwave with a focus on the ocean and early internet aesthetics. The subgenre started as a meme on Tumblr in 2011, but quickly acquired a large cult following. DJ Julian Foxworth, aka Lil Internet, will coin the term sea-punk when describing a punk jacket with seashells instead of spikes. A month after this tweet, a sea-punk label by the name of Coral Records would be made, giving the niche a platform. The subgenre would stay small until massive artists like Lady Gaga and Rihanna would adapt the aesthetic, temporarily skyrocketing the genre into the mainstream to the horror of many gatekeepers. The genre would begin to taper out over the years, although many aspects of sea-punk would blend back into Vaporwave. At starting layer 3 of the iceberg, we have Dream Catalog. And Dream Catalog is one of the largest Vaporwave labels, with some of the biggest talent in the subgenre being signed to them. The label was started in 2014. It was founded by HKE and Telepath, and tends to deviate from the overdone tropes of the genre, like ironic albums and Capitalism bad type pieces. And the label, as we touched on the HKE entry, has undergone quite a bit of controversy. In the 2016, most of the label's music was removed due to copyright, leading to the creation of the Dream Graveyard Bandcamp page that hosts a lot of the deleted content. HKE's mismanagement over the platform was also a large hit to the reputation of the label, as you may expect when the founder starts announcing shutdowns and rebrandings every 2 seconds. But despite this, the label is actually still active to this very day. Now, there actually is a bit of debate over who was the first Vaporwave artist. Daniel, of course, has his claim with Eccojams Volume 1, mostly being considered the origin of the Vaporwave genre. However, there are many other contenders for the title of Vaporwave's creator. DJ Screw pioneered the chop and screw technique, slowing down samples and adding reverb, which is a hallmark of the Vaporwave genre. JPEG Mafia is also considered a pioneer of the Vaporwave genre with his album Dreamcast Summer Songs, having a Vaporwave-like sound. And 18 Karat has a greater claim to creator of Vaporwave, using the aesthetics and sounds of Vaporwave, with 6040 releasing over a year before Eccojams came out. With all this being said, though, the genre itself wouldn't have been what it is now without the influence of Eccojams. Zelda Wave was a short-lived Vaporwave trend that focused on the Zelda games, like Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. It all started on July 30th, 2017, when a video titled Zelda Wave, featuring footage from Ocarina of Time with hazy VHS filter and Vaporwave-style remixes of the game's OST. This would kickstart a trend of making similar videos featuring other Zelda games with a lo-fi, Vaporwave-type aesthetic with many remixes of the game's OST. Bloodbath 64 is an alias of TV Girl used for a side project of the same name, with their 2020 album Aesthetics being considered the last Vaporwave album. Now, obviously, Vaporwave albums came out after 2020, but this is one of the last big ones of the subgenre, with Vaporwave falling out of popularity around this time. Vaporwave is often referred to as a dead genre, especially nowadays. And claiming that Vaporwave is dead isn't anything new, with people claiming the genre was dead all the way back in 2012, with many meme projects flooding the genre and making it more of a joke to most. It was to the point to where the phrase Vaporwave is dead was so common that it became a meme itself within Vaporwave communities. On December 9th, 2015, a Vaporwave artist known as Sandtimer would release the Vaporwave is Dead album, with many fans claiming this album to be the end of what is considered the classic era of Vaporwave, with most Vaporwave projects after this being less sample-based and more experimental. Hypnagogic Drift is a style of Vaporwave that focuses on creating atmospheres using samples that fade in and out as if they were the sounds of a whole world around you. These noises sort of drift in and out while progressing through the song, giving the style its iconic name, and these create a sense of an entire universe to explore, invoking a strong sense of immersions in the works. VHS-pop is an offshoot of lo-fi and vaporwave that focuses on 80s pop and disco songs as samples, while mixing in lo-fi elements, giving it a kind of feel of an old 80s pop tape and putting a fresh coat of neon paint on it. Now, as you may have seen, liminal spaces were huge on the internet about a year or two ago. But for those who don't know, basically, they are places that are meant to be crowded with people, such as malls or old office buildings, that are empty and devoid of life in the state we see them in the photographs or in the videos of it. This creates a unique feeling, invoking a sort of nostalgia stemming from the eeriness, leaving many to believe that these were locations that we may have seen before. As talked about in the prior entries, Vaporwave plays into a sense of familiarity that is invoked from liminal spaces and cover arts, while layering it in old samples and styles that lead that nostalgic feeling to stem from the audio side of things. And artists such as City of Dawn, Infinity Frequencies, and Hauntology use liminal spaces in their album covers for this very reason. Alinthius Records was one of the first Vaporwave labels, being founded by NYKDLN in 2011. Not much is known about the label itself, however, the label is immensely influential and is active to this very day, with them expanding into genres such as Synthwave and cyberpunk type music. PZA was a rising artist in the vaporwave scene, and with all things considered, things were looking very up for him. This would all be thwarted when it was discovered that he was stealing other artists' art and music, with him stealing artwork for album covers and ripping entire songs while making minimal to no changes to them and profiting off of it. Fair use is very important discussion in genres that are heavily sample-based, such as Vaporwave and Barber Beats, with many unsure where to draw the line between theft and artistic expression. However, this is a pretty obvious place where the line is clearly crossed. And people like this who profit off of others' work doesn't just reflect negatively on them, but it reflects negatively on a heavily sample-based, scene, and is truly scummy because it could ruin this whole genre for a lot of people. And many people's interpretation of the genre could be completely thwarted off of someone just stealing other people's work, when that's really not the case. This genre is really creative. Daycore is pretty much the same as Vaporwave, but with a slightly different aesthetic, being more tied to Nightcore. Oh, sorry, I meant Alvin and the Chipmunks covercore. Nobody Here, The Story of Vaporwave is a Vaporwave documentary that has been in the works for the past 4 years that seeks to tell the story of Vaporwave. The documentary includes interviews with many huge names in the genre, like St. Pepsi, Telepath, and George Clanton, with them having unique pieces done specifically for the documentary. And as of now, it looks like the documentary is just wrapping up the post-production and the editing phase, and hopefully we'll all be able to see it soon. Hard Vapor is a subgenre of Vaporwave that is pretty much its polar opposite. The genre was created by Wolfenstein OS X and their album End of the World Rave, and you can pretty much get a feel for the genre off of the album's name. Hard Vapor contrasts with the chill, utopian feel of Vaporwave, with the synth-heavy, fast-paced style that gives more of a post-apocalyptic vibe. Vapor Memory is a well-known YouTube channel that uploads Vaporwave albums. The channel has been around since 2015 and is dedicated to the Vaporwave genre, with Vapor Memory attending pretty much every Vaporwave live event that ever happens and documenting it for the world to see on the YouTube channel. They also have a second channel, fittingly named Vapor Memory 2, that is dedicated to more experimental Vaporwave pieces. Vapor Noise is a subgenre of Vaporwave that distinguishes itself with its abrasive and experimental sound, by hyper-editing the samples and distorting them until they're pretty much indistinguishable from the original source. The Private Suit magazine was a community-run magazine that focused on all things Vaporwave during its run. The magazine debuted on June 17, 2018, and included album reviews, art, creator spotlights, and interviews with artists. The magazine would be shut down after its 14th issue in September of 2020, with every issue being archived on the Private Suit magazine archive page. Utopian Virtual is one of the first subgenres of Vaporwave, stemming from James Farrow's album Farside Virtual back in 2011. The subgenre seeks to emulate the feel of virtual utopias, with the use of MIDI pianos and synthesizers sounding like old space game OSTs from back in the 90s. John Mouse was a popular indie artist in experimental Vaporwave music, and was set to headline 100% Electronicon 4, a huge Vaporwave event at the time. And this was seen as pretty controversial, as John had some pretty controversial political ties, as he was a conservative, and that's fine on its own, but he was there at January 6th at the insurrection, and nobody really vetted him. This controversy would cause a lot of outrage and internet yelling competitions, with George Clanton ultimately figuring out that he was there and cutting John from the lineup, because you kind of have to at that point. Little side tangent, but yeah, niche communities really do struggle to self-police and background check some people. And I mean, like, it's okay if one person has, like, conservative beliefs or whatever, it's like, have your political opinions, but yeah, going to an actual insurrection is extreme, just to say the least. And Somewhat fittingly, there were little boycotts outside of Electronica 4, outside of the venue, so he had his own little insurrection, I guess. Now, of course, Floral Shoppe is one of the most recognizable and widespread Vaporwave albums of all time, leading to multiple tributes and parodies existing. It's to a point to where there's pretty much a subgenre of Vaporwave within itself dedicated just to Floral Shoppe, with over 100 albums based off of Floral Shoppe existing. Many of these are meme albums, as you'd expect, along with many remixes and alternative versions of songs on Floral Shoppe. But some has gone as far as to create new Floral Shoppe songs, with them using samples from Diana Ross and Sade, which Macintosh used for Floral Shoppe, while emulating the style to a T, giving us kind of a DLC to Floral Shoppe. Liberated from the World was an album released by New Deluxe Life as a second part in a trilogy of releases, and the album was pretty divisive, with people praising it for how experimental and influential it is on one hand, while on the other you got people who see it as just kind of a meme album, consisting almost entirely of old commercial clips for samples, and the album would go on to influence several subgenres, such as vapor noise, signal wave, and broken transmission, while also influencing Vaporwave with its use of glitching and sampling techniques. Memory Vague is a super rare DVD created by Onotrix.Never and was released by Root Strata on June 1st, 2009, and the DVD contains several Sunsetcorp and Chuck Person songs and videos with songs from Eccojams on it about a year before Eccojams would even release. And the DVD is somewhat of a Vaporwave holy grail due to its rich history and extreme rarity. On August 6, 2017, a label named Old English Spelling Bee announced that they were going to be doing a vinyl release for Floral Shoppe. And this was a pretty big deal, because the last physical release prior to this one was the first physical release in 2011 on cassette tape. So fans rushed to buy the vinyl, set to release in September of that year, with it selling out within hours of being announced. But the fans wouldn't see anything from this label until October, and instead of a vinyl on their doorstep, it was an email from a spokesperson named Todd, saying there would be a delay with no further information, and fans would rightfully become outraged, with their money seemingly vanishing with no updates, and the fans would direct this outrage towards Todd. And although I don't like shooting the messenger, this guy was a prick, insulting the fan base on Reddit instead of giving updates, calling the fans vapor babies and spoiled idiots when you took their money, dude. Todd was so unhinged that fans began to urge others to be nicer towards him because they thought he was mentally ill, which that's kind of insane. If this situation wasn't wild enough, Vektroid seemingly didn't even know about the vinyl, and the only thing she said on it was that it wasn't official and she was never in contact with these people. Only a few people would receive their vinyls a year later, with other orders never reaching their rightful owners, with vinyl showing up on eBay and in record stores in LA, seemingly being stolen from the distributors and being resold. Which, yeah, this story is insane. Signal wave is a subgenre of vaporwave that focuses on glitching and takes more ambient approaches, frequently using looping clips from old shows and radio shows to give a melancholic yet nostalgic type of feeling. The sample clips are stretched, pitched up, and looped, emitting an eerie yet unique and nostalgic type of sound. Beer on the Rug was one of the largest vaporwave labels in the early 2010s, with artists like Vektroid, Midnight Television, and Eyeliner being signed to them. They were a massive label consistently putting out music up until 2019, where one day it just randomly vanished out of nowhere with no reason ever being given. All of its websites just vanished from the internet, along with hundreds of albums and projects that are just lost media, with only 72 being archived on the Beer on the Rug archive page. And starting off layer 4 of the iceberg, we got more on Wolfenstein OS X. Wolf was a large figure in the Vaporwave scene, creating the subgenre of hard vapor and releasing a documentary on Vaporwave named Vaporwave: A Brief History. Wolf would eventually grow to dislike Vaporwave, even deleting all of his Vaporwave content, both songs and documentaries. And of course, often artists will grow to dislike their work and other music within their own genres, but Wolf's reason isn't as simple as just getting sick of it. You see, Wolf would release a video titled Floral Shoppe, the most demonic album, in which he would describe having a psychedelic trip while listening to the album, causing an extremely unpleasant experience, and which ended with him being saved by a guardian angel. Ever since this trip, Wolf would never view Vaporwave the same. He'd go on to say that he views it as hollow and empty. But Wolf does still continue to put out music, just not Vaporwave. Begotten is a mysterious Vaporwave artist who kind of feels like a Death Note character. You see, Begotten has sent 6 albums to the owner of Geometric Lullaby label, Dennis McCullough, with a distinct dark ambient vibe along with cryptic messages and emails. This mysterious nature of the artist leaves many to wonder if this is an ARG, an artist that's just super mysterious, or perhaps a promotional stunt for the label. If Floral Shoppe is so good, then how come there's no Floral Shoppe 2? You may have asked yourself, not knowing. Well, Floral Shoppe 2, The Darkest Future, is a parody album with the express purpose of sounding awful. The creator of the album, Dark Pyramid, released it as a commentary on the Vaporwave scene at the time, stating that the most popular songs of the era were all experimental, low-effort garbage. So, he would make low-effort, experimental garbage, and slap Floral Shoppe on the cover. The title Darkest Future stemmed from a fear that fans would mindlessly consume low-effort garbage just long as it was popular and mainstream. And, as an ironic twist, the album would go on to gain a small yet faithful fan base, to the point to where the songs would be remixed and the album would be even released on vinyl. New Mount Everest is the secret alias and YouTube channel of Saint Pepsi, with Pepsi uploading several songs under the alias, yet rarely mentioning the channel's existence. This is kind of like a little side experiment, a little if you know type of thing. Telepath, like most Vaporwave artists, would release music under different aliases, with one in particular causing him a lot of trouble down the road. You see, an old alias named ffulll came from, you guessed it, 2016, back when edgy humor was a bit more common. Telepath has since deleted the ffulll album, however, many try to use this against him, try to blemish his name, just off of this one controversy, but yeah, that's pretty wild. Vaporwave 2.0 or post-Vaporwave are names for the era of Vaporwave following the end of the classic era, which was pre-2015 Vaporwave that relied heavily on samples, whereas Vaporwave 2.0 is more reliant on original compositions. Now, for a more lighthearted Telepath story, this entry stems from a picture from a Telepath concert featuring a faceless figure holding up a crystal, with the image being spread throughout the community at the time. The crystal's power caught the gaze of George Clanton, who sent out a $1,000 bounty for anyone with information on the crystal and its mysterious wielder. A man would confirm themselves to be the crystal's owner and would refuse to hand it over, but would agree to hold it up during Telepath's performance at Electronica 2 if George flew him out. And George would agree, and as promised, the crystal would be held up when Telepath performed. But this crystal would not be alone, as several other concert goers would raise their own crystals. From that point forward, it would become a tradition to hold up crystals at Telepath's performances. And Telepath hasn't performed in a while, but if he were to ever return to the stage, you can bet that crystals will be held high when that day comes. Now, this entry isn't referring to Boogie 2988 showing up into a Vaporwave landscape, but we are going to have financial shortcomings as a big theme in this story. You see, in 2014, Evan Collins would attempt to set up a Vaporwave concert titled Boogie at Hypermall 20XX, which would have been the first Vaporwave concert ever. Evan planned to host the concert in a closed-down mall in Scranton, Pennsylvania, the perfect venue. Evan would set up a kick-track page to raise money and create social media pages to provide updates and promote the event. And Evan had big artists lined up to perform, like Blank BANSHEE and George Clanton. Despite all this, the event would fall through, only raising $680 out of the $20,000 needed. So the promotional accounts would also be shut down after this, except for the Facebook page that for some reason would remain active until 2022, posting memes and promoting other Vaporwave events that were successful. Deluxe Vaporwave Cassettes is a super exclusive label that produces unofficial copies of Vaporwave albums on cassettes. And these cassettes are of the finest quality with premium packaging and unique cover arts, along with these copies being super rare with only a couple copies ever being made. And I have also been informed that it has its own wiki page that I can confirm it's one of those unhinged wiki pages that gets hijacked due to weak admin settings. So if you're into hijacked wiki pages, go ahead and give that a check. Latinwave Records is a label created by the artist Pentium 2 in 2015 to promote Hispanic and Latin Vaporwave artists, with the label seemingly starting strong. However, this image would shatter on January 9th, 2018, when a Reddit user would expose the label for being mostly empty, with Pentium using fake accounts to make the label look more lively, going as far as to steal personal information from the artists they were pretending to have signed to make them look more legitimate. Pentium would go on to use these accounts to harass people in online yelling competitions. And this information pretty much destroyed the label upon posting, along with Pentium 2's reputation. Although, he does still upload to his Bandcamp as if this whole situation just never happened. Death Dream was a short-lived subgenre of Vaporwave that focused on themes of depression and isolation. And the genre is super small, with mostly having only a handful of songs from its peak era being 2015 to 2016. Broken Transmission is a subgenre of Vaporwave that samples old commercials and radio jingles to give it the feel of an interrupted broadcast. Broken Transmission is one of the oldest subgenres of Vaporwave and hosts a small but still active community. Coindow Market is a website that sells fake bootlegs of cassettes and vinyls of popular Vaporwave albums. The covers are often altered and the quality of the albums is extremely low to emulate the feel of getting scammed into buying a bootleg at an old shop. And that's something I could relate to. I bought tons of bootleg Pokemon cards back in the day. Cartoon Network is known for doing some really cool stuff every now and again. And on April 20th, 2018, they would upload a Vaporwave edit from the show Clarence, titled Clarence Vaporwave, where they kind of made their own Vaporwave edit from a Clarence scene. Agora Road, or Macintosh Cafe, is an online forum with a 90s aesthetic that originated around the discussion of Vaporwave. Forum is most notable for its article on Dead Internet Theory, which claims that the internet is composed mostly of bots, and that most of the time you're not interacting with a real person, but an AI. Which, if you go on Twitter, you can come to that conclusion. The site has since strayed away from Vaporwave as a primary topic. However, Vaporwave discussion still does go down, and many threads are open on the topic of Vaporwave. WarDriver96 is a self-proclaimed popular Vaporwave producer and professional blogger who was the focus of Brett Smiley's video Vaporwave, an interview with WarDriver96. What's most notable about his claims of being a big name in his respective fields is that neither his music or blog posts still exist, with the only known trace of his blogging career being an account that was deleted ages ago. It is unknown that WarDriver is either someone trolling or someone who mysteriously was wiped from the internet. Fashwave is a subgenre of Vaporwave with a focus on fashion. Just kidding, it's on fascism, sampling political speeches from people like Evil Mustache Loser Man. Fashwave is pretty common on forums online, including some, but not all, of the boards of 4chan, where edgy losers try to shill their beliefs of a political group that could not stand their own against the might of the Allied forces. 1945 to 0, baby! Now onto a subgenre of Vaporwave that actually is based. Tradwave is a style that utilizes the aesthetics of Vaporwave with a focus on Catholicism and Christianity. And these images go hard as heck if you are a heckin' Christian. All Caps and Alt Key Codes is one of the first parody Vaporwave albums released back in August of 2013. This album was kind of a beginning of what is a big chunk of Vaporwave, as parody albums since are a lot of the genre. Down to the depths of the final layer of the iceberg, we have Bubble Girl's Falling. And Falling is an album that is so bad that its lore is something of pure hilarity. The album featured other people's songs that were just slowed down, and that's it. The album was awful, often regarded as the worst Vaporwave album, if not one of the worst albums ever, with it being so bad that Bubble Girl erased their entire existence from the internet, and initially the entire album as well. The only song to remain was a track called Whenever You Need, and it, along with its lore, was so awful, the internet just had to find this piece of lost media. And they managed to find an old download link. The full album is available and ready to listen to, if you dare. Surfing is a Vaporwave and indie music duo consisting of Penny Van Hazelberg and Leroy Nania that hit it big in Vaporwave's early days, with their Deep Fantasy releasing on April 3rd, 2012, being solidified as a cult classic. Originally, the band had a third member named Harvey, but one day he just kind of vanished. Not just from the group, but in general. According to Leroy, even closer friends of Harvey's came to the duo for information on him. At best, the guy just decided to be old school and live without the internet, but something awful may have happened to him and caused him to dip. The Olive War is an inside joke in which people make their case for which olive type is the best. Need, I guess? Linda is a Keter-class SCP... I meant inside joke that stemmed from a 24/7 Vaporfunk stream, where two clips would overlap, creating this eerie image that fans would dub Linda. The commercials used in the samples are usually the same, so if you're keen enough, you may have your very own Linda encounter. EEG Programs is an obscure channel that seemingly flew under the community's noses, uploading Vaporwave content well before the Vaporwave scene was even a thing. And to show how old it was, the channel would stop uploading altogether back in 2011, with the channel being stumbled upon by Nimesh the next year, influencing him to make his very own Vaporwave music as a pioneer in the genre. And for our last entry, this one has some pretty disturbing topics. WorldCorp Enterprises was seemingly just an account that uploaded Vaporwave content and would fly under the radar for a while. This would go on until, in 2015, the X-board of 4chan would begin to look into the YouTube channel and its website with two videos titled Each Day I Grow Some More and Dreamer Heaven, catching the eyes of the onlookers. These videos had what appeared to contain footage of children being abused. This led many to assume that WorldCorp distributed abuse videos and maybe even worse content. The WorldCorp website linked to a SoundCloud by the same name, so it was also a possibility that this was all just an ARG to get more views, and in 2019 it looks like this would be correct, as a member of the WorldCorp would come forward claiming they got the abuse video from 4chan, and they created a cryptic version of it to promote their works, which is really fucking sick. In an awful, sickening way, not in a cool way. That's really scummy. Since this, World Corp has vanished into the shadows, with their presence being erased alongside coverage of the situation. Good riddance. And that's gonna do it for the Vaporwave Iceberg, pals. Uh, yeah, this iceberg was really interesting to look into a subgenre of music like this. Of course, I used to watch a lot of Vaporwave stuff, and I even still listen to a good amount of Synthwave and Barber Beats, as I said earlier. Those caught my eye a good bit. But yeah, this was a pretty interesting thing to cover. It was good to learn about a lot of these artists and the funny ass lore that some of these artists have. So yeah, if you made it this far, I'd like to thank you for watching. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you like the content, and comment something funny down below. Yeah, I'd also like to thank whoever made this iceberg, because they were based enough to provide a Google Doc. That was very helpful in the research for this video, so I'd like to thank you for saving so much time on that. And without, I just want to say thank you for watching again. It's like the 5th time, but with that, goodbye, and I'll see you in the next one.